Hello and welcome to Art Jams Acrylic Painting of an Egret. This is part 2. This video demonstrates how to paint an egret with acrylic paints. This video is meant to supplement the instructions in your booklet that's included in your kit, so please refer back to your booklet. Pause this video as needed. You can pause at any time to complete a step or to allow your paint to dry completely. You can also complete this painting in several sessions. Just remember to keep your brushes standing in the jar of water between sessions. You should have drawn or traced your egret onto one of the canvases in your kit. If you have not done so, go to artjams.net and either follow the tracing video or draw the egret, then return to this video once you've completed it. We're going to paint the egret in 3 basic steps. You're going to paint the background or negative space first, then we're going to paint the egret, and then finally you're going to add details and touch up as needed. Refer to the image of the finished painting located in the back of your book as you go through this video. The first thing you want to do is cover your surface, either with wax paper, freezer paper, or newspaper, it doesn't matter. Then you're going to empty your kit jar and check all of your supplies. The next thing you're going to do is fill your empty kit jar about half full of clear, clean water. Now you're going to arrange your supplies on your work surface. You can take out your little paint pots. You have your drawing ready. You need to use 1 paper plate. Here, put out your brushes, your little stir stick, and 1 paper napkin or paper towel. Here's a little art tip. If you're left-handed as I am, you're going to want to arrange all of the supplies to the left of your canvas or drawing. If you're right-handed, you want to arrange everything on the right. Just always remember to place your water jar away from the edge of the table. We will paint the background or negative space first in this painting. So you're going to use your wooden stir stick to mix blue and black together. You want about 2 pats of blue. Place them on your plate. Now, before you get out the black, clean your stir stick. You want to do this every time you change colors so that you can keep your paint clean and clear. So rinse off your little stick and then wipe it off on your paper towel. Next, you're going to get 1 scoop of black, so you will have 2 parts blue, 1 part black. Mix it together with the stir stick and then place the stir stick in your water jug. We're going to use the large brush to scrub the dark blue color you've made on the background or negative space. You want to think of swamp and jungle and bushes, so use X's and zigzags as you paint. Use the small brush to paint carefully around the shape of the bird so you can keep the neck and back clean. So just gently go around the bird with the small brush. Place the brush always back into the water when you're not using it, any of your brushes. If acrylic paint dries in your brush, it's ruined. You will have to throw it away. You cannot clean off dried acrylic paint. So continue to paint the background, again in zigzags and X's. Now you're going to use the small brush to paint between the bird's leg and around the tail. Always, this is an art tip, always wipe off water when you take out your brush out of the water. This keeps your paint from becoming runny. So just dab it off. Here we're going to paint between the legs and around the tail. You can also touch up as needed. You are now going to use the small brush, don't clean it, leave the dark blue paint in it, and you're going to begin to paint the water. Think of how water flows horizontally across the land and how it reflects everything around it as you paint. So taking the small brush, use sharp horizontal strokes, leaving white areas. We are now going to paint green areas in the background. So the first thing you're going to want to do is place some green paint onto your plate using the little stir stick. Place it in water when you're not using it. Take out the large brush and wipe it off. Then you're going to scrub in green paint, again thinking of swamp and bushes, however much you would like or as little as you would like. Now you have to paint green areas in the water because water reflects everything. So continue to use the large brush and paint horizontal strokes, leaving white areas. It's now time to allow your background and painting to dry for about 15 minutes. While you're allowing it to dry, make sure you stand your brushes up in the water so that they don't dry out. The next thing we're going to do is place some white paint onto your plate with the stir stick. Turn the stick over and use the clean end so that your paint stays nice and white. Use the small brush now to paint the entire egret white. That includes the beak and the feet. And as you paint the bird, think about the surface of the actual bird. For example, the beak would be long, smooth strokes around the head, and on the neck would be short, feathery, as well as around the legs. The back and the wings have long, strong feathers, so paint those types of strokes. This is a good time to give you an art tip. Acrylic paints dry fairly quickly, so add bits of paint as needed onto your plate throughout the painting process. And so now what we're going to do is paint the shadows on the egret, and you're going to have to mix a dot of blue with white and a dot of black with white to make gray-blue coloring to paint your shadows. As you paint these shadows, refer to the image of the finished painting located in the back of your booklet. Short feathery strokes on the neck here, just however they appear in your booklet. Reference that. You need to now paint the shadows around the egret's eye and bill. Again, continue to use your gray and black mixture and your small brush. You also need to paint where the top and the bottom of the beak or bill meet. You need to paint in that line. Now you're going to mix a small amount of orange. You're going to take out a bit of yellow and red, and you already have some white. Use your stir stick. An art tip: always mix a very small amount of red into the yellow to create orange, not the other way around. Yellow is so weak, so watch how quickly this yellow is going to change with just a small bit of red added to it. Now, using the small brush, you're going to paint the eye yellow, and then you're going to paint the beak yellow, the entire beak. Add bits of yellow highlights to the neck and chest area. If you add a little bit too much, just put some more white on top. This just helps your bird sparkle. Now we're going to add orange to the beak. So paint a layer of orange over the entire beak, over the yellow. And then you're going to paint both legs orange. Make them nice and long and straight. Now once you've done that, you're going to add some of your dark blue-black as a shadow on the right side of each of the legs. Don't paint the whole leg, just the right edge. Now you're going to paint the pupil of the egret's eye. Just use the small brush with the same dark blue-black paint. The next thing we're going to do is use the small brush to paint short horizontal white strokes in the water. So you'll need to clean off your brush, take up some white, and make short sparkly white strokes. Remember, water is reflective. Paint some blue strokes as well. And you also will probably need to paint some dark strokes. If you go over the bird's leg, don't worry, you'll repaint that later after the paint dries. Add some yellow and orange to the water because the bird has yellow and orange in it, and it also creates sparkle in your water. Continue to add white, blue, yellow, and orange as needed in your water. Remember, water reflects everything around it, so use all of the colors that are in the bird and the background in your water. You now need to allow your painting to dry for about 15 minutes. While you're painting is drying, make sure your brushes are in your jar of water and they don't dry out. Next, you're going to touch up your painting. Take a good long look at it and see if there are any areas that you would like to make adjustments to. For example, I want to straighten out my beak, so I'm going to use the background color to do so. I'm going to straighten out the curve in the neck, again using that dark blue background color. You can add highlights to your bird. You can add things to the background. I've also straightened out my legs by this point in time. And here's my completed painting. It's now time to clean your brushes with warm soap and water. If you're not sure how to properly clean paint out of brushes, go to artjams.net and view the art tip video on proper brush cleaning. To display your work, you may mat or frame it once it's completely dry. If you don't want to frame it, put it in an envelope or plastic sleeve. Here are a couple of more finished egrets by students. Notice how they're different in style, how the feathers look a bit different from each other, how the beaks are painted differently, the water, how plants are added in the background. We want you to have some fun with this. To discover more delicious art projects, go to www.artjams.net.